Maybe you've heard the term psychoacoustics before. That refers to something that has to do with acoustics, but is also not completely real, maybe. It could be some kind of illusion or something. So today we want to talk about one of those illusions. And they are very interesting because you can use them for your music if you know how they work and what they do. So today is about the shepherd tone, and I don't want to waste your time in the intro. We're gonna jump in the session now. I'm gonna show you how it works and how many producers, including you in the future, can use this to improve their tracks. I'm not gonna continue playing this, it's a minute long, because I think you kind of got the idea, right? This is a shepherd tone, and shepherd tones are defined by their ability to sound like they never end. It sounds like there's a rising character to it, sounds like it's pitched, but it just doesn't end. Why is that? So, and why do we want to use this? This is another interesting question. Maybe we start there. It's so cool because you don't have to have a real riser which starts at some frequency, it ends at some frequency, and it's already kind of predictable for the user. It's more like you could use this for 1 minute and it would still create the feeling of suspense and like we are going somewhere, something is coming. You have to be a little bit careful. Of course, you shouldn't overdo it. At some point, maybe it's also becoming boring, right? But you can use shepherd tones in different styles. At this point, you're probably like, what? Why does it sound like it's pitching, but it's somehow not pitching? Because if it pitches, it should, like, at some points it should leave our audible, our sense of hearing, right? And we should be able to tell that it's pitching. Maybe some of you already got the trick. I'm gonna show it to you now, and then I'm gonna explain to you how this is. Where is actually my... here. How this is done and how it works. We need the higher resolution. So you can kind of see what's happening there. We have just so many frequencies and they are all moving. So maybe you already know where we are going with this. Let me show you how it's done. We just need Serum. And yeah, here is kind of, I already say it, like you have to play a lot of notes. I put it in the description so you all don't forget about it. You have to play a lot of notes, maybe C0 to C7, or like I did it here, C-1 to C7. So I played 8 different Cs. I also added this +7, which is why we had two frequencies next to each other on the span before. And the sound design is completely up to you. Like what I'm giving you is this double supersaw because it's just the most kind of versatile, I think. In the other example, I've used sine waves. In the other example, I've used like pulse wave modulated square waves. You can use anything, right? You can even do this with vocal samples or whatever. It's very, very, yeah, it really depends what you need for your track. And this is now more about the technique. So the technique works like this. Essentially, the idea is whenever a frequency leaves our audible spectrum, like let's say the C7, for example, we can look at the C7 or we can listen. It's already super high, so at some point it will go beyond the 20,000 hertz. That's no problem, because if it does, this one is coming. And if this one is too high, it's no problem, because this one is coming. And if this one is too high, this one is coming, right? And the same in the low end. Maybe this one is not even audible yet, but the moment this one leaves the sub area, this one will enter the sub area. So essentially you have so many notes that every time one is going away, another one is already coming to the frequency spectrum. And every time one is too high, a very low one will come into the picture. And like this, you create this illusion of never-ending pitching, because whenever something is leaving the pitch, kind of, and you would actually feel that there's the end, something else is starting at the same time. So essentially you have like 8 notes on different levels, all pitching at the same time. I'm also going to include a graph. I'm going to show it to you now on the screen to explain this a little more. But yeah, try it for yourself. You can also do crazy things with the notes, of course. You can use full like chords, for example. That could be cool. Right, so we could, for example, use a minor chord. Right, something like this. We could also use it like this. You get it, right? It will never stop. So, and the way I do this is I just have this LFO here and I have the length here. So you can put it to whichever length you need. For example, 32 bar, like here. You can also do it 16 bar, 8, 4, 2, whatever you need. You can also just cut it at some point. And what I tend to do is I will record this and then use the audio file, because it's just nicer than always having to play it from the start, right? But that's up to you. Yes, and that's it, right? In this patch that you can download for free, you can use this volume knob here for the +7, right? You can take this out of the sound. You can also use some noise. So you can combine this with some kind of noise sweeping. It's also very cool. You can also combine it with cutoff. You can let it start like this. And then slowly opening up, right? There's quite a lot of ideas that you can use for those shepherd tones. And they are used actually a lot, I think, especially in like melodic techno. But yeah, I myself have been using them now for ever since I discovered about this. And it's a very, very deep rabbit hole, like on a scientific kind of level. This is where they came up with it. It was not a musician, I think. It was more like science and all that. And there's much more to it. So if you're interested, maybe we can put some links in the description, or you can Google for yourself. But this is what's important for the music. You do it like this. You put several notes, you pitch them all up at the same time, and essentially you create this never-ending riser. So have fun using this for your own tracks, and if you want to learn more about music production, we have a lot of videos. Check out one of those playlists, and until then, have a good time and keep making music.